Chapter 9. A Dance of Wolves. You think you can just waltz in here and save the day? You're out of your league, detective. The dark-haired man taunted, amusement radiating from him as he stepped closer to Clara. His eyes alight with malicious glee. Joshua's heart raced, pulses of anger coursing through his veins like fire. "Don't you hurt her!" he shouted, stepping forward defiantly, fists clenched at his sides, ready to spring into action. "Or what?" The man replied coolly, his grin widening. "You're just a pawn in this game. You have no idea what you're meddling in. The girls, everything happening here, it's bigger than you can imagine." "What are you talking about?" Joshua ground out, injecting steel into every word as he shifted his body between Clara and the man, an unyielding wall of protection. "The reality of the world you live in. You keep searching for lost girls, pretending to be a hero, but you're just blind to what happens in the shadows." He stepped aside slightly, revealing a flickering overhead light that illuminated the dimly lit space around Clara. "These girls were never meant to be saved." "Shut up," Clara shouted, eyes blazing with determination despite her restraints. "I'm not afraid of you." "Brave words coming from someone in chains," he mocked, turning his attention back to Joshua. "But why don't we make this interesting? Since you seem intent on saving her, let's see how far you're willing to go." Before Joshua could react, the man drew a sleek knife from his belt and held it to Clara's throat, the blade glinting dangerously under the light. "One wrong move, and I swear I'll end this little charade." "Put down the knife," Joshua barked, the fear for Clara's life igniting something primal within him. His instincts screamed for him to take action, but any wrong move could lead to catastrophe. The tension in the room tightened, the air thick with fear and the scent of desperation. "You think I'm bluffing?" the man sneered. "I'll prove it." He pressed the blade just enough for Clara to wince, her breath hitching in her throat. Joshua felt a wave of cold wash over him at the sight. "No!" he shouted, feeling the darkness close in around them. "Tell me, detective," the man continued, his voice a chilling whisper. "What are you willing to sacrifice to save her? You think you can uncover the truth, but sometimes the truth is buried beneath layers of pain. Are you ready to bear that weight?" In that moment, everything hung in the balance. Clara's frightened gaze met Joshua's, and he saw the flicker of hope beneath her fear. He clenched his fists, weighing the decision he faced. "I would do anything to keep her safe." "Anything?" the dark-haired man echoed, narrowing his eyes. "How about this? You give me the information I want, the lead you have on our operations, and I'll let her go. Fight me, and I'll make sure your precious Clara pays the price." Joshua's mind raced, calculating every angle. He couldn't give the man what he wanted, couldn't expose Clara to greater danger, but risking her life was not an option he was willing to entertain. "Fine," Joshua said, his voice steady, but his heart pounded fiercely against his ribcage. "What do you want to know?" The man's features lit up with intrigue. "Oh, now we're getting somewhere. Share what you discovered about the girls, the connections, the rumors. What did that bartender say? Make it juicy." Joshua swallowed hard, feeling the weight of the decision settle heavily on his shoulders. He started speaking, trying to spin a story that would appease the man, masking the truth while keeping Clara's safety at the forefront of his mind. "It's all about Mia. I know she was attractive to dangerous types, caught in a world she didn't understand. Other girls, like her, get wrapped up in schemes they don't know exist, parties, excitement, all that, then disappear," he said, watching the dark-haired man's eyes glimmer with interest. "I figured if I learned enough about this world, I could find her, but the man cut him off, lip curling in amusement at Joshua's tale. "Keep talking, detective. You're doing better than I expected. Or have you finally come to the realization that you're wasting your breath?" Joshua steeled himself, focusing solely on Clara's safety. "Just let her go. You don't have to do this. These girls, there's still a chance to help them. You don't need to drag Clara into this mess." The man's face darkened, and for a fleeting moment, Joshua thought he saw the flicker of uncertainty. but it quickly morphed back into cruelty. "You're too naive, detective. This world doesn't run on hope." Suddenly, though, the flickering light surrounding them exploded in a shower of sparks, plunging the warehouse into darkness. The girl who showed Joshua where the warehouse was had fired a round at the fixture. The dinging of a metal bell mixed with shouting filled the air as fire alarms began blaring, bringing chaos forth within the old warehouse. "Get back!" Joshua shouted as everything erupted into pandemonium. Without thinking, he lunged toward Clara, determined to free her. As the dark-haired man had retreated from the sparks falling from the light fixture, the knife slipped from his hand and clattered to the ground. Seizing the opportunity, Joshua dashed forward just as two thugs, previously hidden in the corners, rushed toward him. Clara's chains rattled as she struggled against her bindings, her eyes wide as Joshua threw himself between her and the chaos unfolding. "Get her out of here!" he shouted to the girl, battling against the two men who lunged at him, grappling for control as she freed Clara from her bindings. "Joshua, don't risk it!" With a surge of energy, Joshua twisted and threw one assailant to the side, throwing a fierce punch that found its mark. As the other thug lunged, Joshua caught him off guard with a strike to the stomach, and the man stumbled back. Meanwhile, the dark-haired man was regaining his footing, his eyes flaming with rage. "You'll pay for that!" Ignoring the threat, Joshua turned his focus back to Clara. "I will get you out of here," he promised, determination surging within him like an unquenchable fire.